India's wholesale inflation surged to 8.3% in April 2026, a sharp increase from 3.88% in March 2026. This spike is not a coincidence. It's a direct result of global crude oil price hikes and Middle East tensions that have forced the Indian government to confront a crisis it cannot ignore. The Indian rupee hit a record low of 95.74 against the US dollar, a stark decline from the 86.89 level in January 2025. This depreciation is not just a market reaction, it's a direct consequence of the government's failed policies and the global energy crisis. The combination of inflation and currency depreciation is a clear signal of structural economic weakness. India's government has implemented a series of interventions to stabilize the economy, including freezing fuel prices for 4 years, imposing a sugar export ban, and raising gold import duties. However, these measures are not without cost. State-run oil firms are losing over 1 lakh crore rupees, and the government is forced to use tax cuts to offset these losses. The financial strain is mounting, and the long-term sustainability of these interventions is questionable. India's energy security is under threat as geopolitical tensions and sanctions limit its ability to secure reliable energy supplies. Despite signing significant trade agreements with New Zealand and Vietnam, India is still struggling to secure enough energy to meet its growing demands. The rejection of Russian LNG under U.S. sanctions and the request for a U.S. waiver on Russian oil imports highlight the complex and often humiliating trade-offs India is forced to make. India's diaspora sent $137 billion in remittances in 2024, providing a crucial financial lifeline. However, this support is not a substitute for structural reforms and sustainable policy decisions. The surge in gold imports, reaching $71.98 billion in 2025-26, highlights the impact of global market trends on domestic consumption, but it also underscores the lack of long-term economic planning. India's request for a U.S. waiver on Russian oil imports and the blocking of a Russian LNG ship highlight the country's growing dependence on foreign powers. These actions, while necessary to secure energy supplies, are a clear sign of India's weakened sovereignty and its inability to act independently in a globalized economy. India's economic struggles are a direct result of policy compromises and global pressures, exposing deep structural weaknesses in its economy. The government's interventions, while well-intentioned, are creating a financial strain that threatens long-term stability. The rupee's freefall and inflationary pressures are symptoms of a deeper imbalance, and the country's dependence on foreign powers is a clear sign of its weakened sovereignty.